Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the SolarWinds presentation today. My name is Scott Pross. I'm the Vice President of Technology with SolarWinds. I've been doing SolarWinds for about 20 years or so. Learned it when I had to build a $1 billion NOC from the ground up using the product. I had a 99.99% customer-facing SLA, so that gave me 4 minutes and 37 seconds of downtime a month for 33,000 devices in 40 different countries and 180 different data centers. So to say the least, you get pretty good with it when you have that kind of pressure on you. Joined Monolithic, which is the professional services arm of SolarWinds, about 10 years ago with some like-minded architects and engineers, and we specialize in working with DoD teams in really getting their network monitoring and their observability systems up and running. So it really shows you not only the single pane of glass, but it really helps you tie all of this data that we're getting together so that you're able to really see and understand what's going on in your network while also helping you solve the why. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today is the difference between network monitoring and observability. So network monitoring was great in the early 2000s. You know, it told you what's going on in your network. This is high, this is low, this is red, this is green, you know, this is up, this is down. Observability, though, that answers the question of why. And why is what takes us so long to get to. We need to figure out why are we having the problem, not just what's happening on the network. So today for observability, there are so many different pieces that we're trying to answer. We're trying to improve our user experience to make sure that our users have access to the mission critical data that they absolutely need and rely on every single day. We're trying to be proactive and solve issues before they actually become a problem, as well as get our dependency mappings and understanding how all these complex systems are communicating with each other, which is extremely difficult in this day and age with all of the different applications that are integrating together. We're trying to do our optimizations. You know, with budget cuts going on, we're trying to get more out of what we already have and optimizing our resources, which is very difficult because those are always changing as well as the mission changes. And then finally, we're looking at faster troubleshooting, being able to cut our MTTR, that mean time to resolution. How long from the second that SolarWinds tells you that there's an issue to how long you can have it resolved. We want to minimize that as much as possible. Giving also our commanders business insights or mission insights into what's actually going on within their environment so that they can make critical decisions on what needs to happen next for them to be successful in their mission. And finally, security insights. Being able to make sure that we are secure, that we remain secure, and that we are following all of our crazy compliance standards that we all know exist. We need to make sure that we remain secure in everything that we do. All of this comes down to a large level of complexity. How do we do this? How do we tie all of this information together like this? So our operational awareness challenges, they're all real. The lack of visibility into our environments, being able to see what we're doing in all these multiple level environments, whether it's on-prem or the cloud or third-party applications or even proprietary applications. Giving us that visibility is absolutely key to being successful. Our tool sprawl. This is the most painful thing that I've seen in DoD, where all of our different tools aren't communicating with each other anymore. And so when we have a problem, we've got to go to 5 different tools to figure out what's going on. And you're talking to different teams at the same time. And so those different teams are using their own tools and seeing different pieces of information. That makes things much more difficult. And then slow issue detection and root cause ID. It's great that we're answering that what question very quickly, but we really need to answer the why. And that's going to give the teams the ability to be able to reduce the alert noise and really pinpoint where the issue is. One of the things that I like to tell people is, one of the great things that SolarWinds Observability is able to do for you is it's able to say, okay, I've got a problem over here, I've got a problem over there, and I've got a problem down there. this is what they have in common. This is where you need to go to solve your issue, because that's where the actual issue and the root cause is occurring. We may see different parts of our infrastructure lighting up with issues, but we need to identify what is that root cause, because that's what we need to resolve. And then finally, lower productivity and higher costs. Obviously, working very siloed and having excessive alerts, these things can slow us down, and it costs us time, it costs us resources, and when you're down, you're not only causing problems for your users, but a lot of times it's costing you money as well. So money and time, and it's affecting our mission, and we need to make sure we stay focused on meeting that mission every single day. So empowering you guys to be able to do this, we use 3 ideas. We need to ingest the data. We need to bring in all of the data into one place where we have it all together. This is going to allow us to correlate the data. It's going to allow us to share the data among our teams, and it's going to allow us to make sure that we're able to run any reports or alerting or monitoring on that data. That's where the analysis comes in. Now, it used to be that we would just show the actual data on the screen and say, this is what you have. This is your dashboard. We can show you what your problem is. Today, that's no longer good enough. Now, we need the system to analyze the data for us. We need it to be able to say and correlate that data to say, hey, wait a minute, we've just had a change in network connectivity. And by the way, somebody's made a change on the network, and correlate that data together to really be able to analyze it. And then finally is action. It's being able to automate the action so that once you see an actual issue, you're able to go ahead and have the system act for you and automating that process. Think of it this way. If you have a system that is secured and following STIG compliance, and somebody changes a configuration that takes you out of compliance, SolarWinds can put you back into compliance. So not only does it alert you that the change was made, it's actually automating and resolving that problem and putting you back into compliance to make sure that you remain following the mission compliance rules. So empowering you guys, it really comes down to how do we do this? We need to ingest information from a lot of different options. Our applications, our databases, our network, our infrastructure, our users, even our things. Things for you guys are a little bit different than the things in the commercial world. It could be drones. It could be missile systems. It could be a large variety of different things. SolarWinds can ingest that. We don't care if it's on-prem. We don't care if it's in the cloud. It doesn't have to be in the cloud. It can all be on-prem. It could all be in the cloud. It doesn't matter. We can ingest all that information, including the database piece. We also have the service management piece, which allows you to create ticketing systems, make sure that you're getting the information to the correct people. And then finally, tying that together with your security tools to make sure that everything that you're doing here remains secured, that we're following our security best practices as well. Once we do that, we're now able to do things like accelerate the detection of issues, accelerate the remediation of problems, increase your uptime and operational resiliency. All of these things, but on the most important thing there is automation, being able to automate this. So from beginning to end, the amount of human intervention is very limited. We want to make sure that we're providing you a full story where a problem occurs, the problem is detected, the problem is correlated with other issues on the environment, and the system then automates the answer as well. So all of this tying together is what's going to allow you guys to be successful and make sure that you meet your mission critical SLAs. So we talk about this one platform idea, and the idea of SolarWinds observability is very simple. Now, you guys probably that are familiar with SolarWinds realize that we were an a la carte company. You only bought what you needed. If you just wanted the network stuff, you just bought the network stuff. If you just wanted the application stuff, you just bought the application stuff. Well, SolarWinds realized they had a problem about 4 or 5 years ago. They realized you can't be able to correlate information that you can't see. So our observability platform was the answer to that. And what it does is it says, you can now pay one price per device and you get all the modules together. So we don't care now if you have a nipper side and a sipper side, it's still one license. We don't care if you have 5, 10, 15 different instances of SolarWinds. That used to require a different license at each location, no more. We don't care about any of that. What we care about is providing you per device information. So you're going to get all of the different modules within one particular instance for all of your devices. This allows you now to be able to build out your environment based on what you need instead of what your cost structure is or what your budget is. Now you're able to see all of the different pieces together. So we're going to talk a little bit about what this means here, but it really means about automating our processes, being able to make sure that we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of what's going on and being able to resolve the problem automatically. I want to remove the human intervention as much as possible. The mission critical piece, again, we can go across domains here, be able to analyze the information and really be able to see where the issue is going. Simplicity to use. I always tell people that one of the advantages of SolarWinds is how customizable it is. But one of the disadvantages is how customizable it is. We allow you to do what you need to do, but now it's become more simplistic. The features and the tools, things like NetPath and performance analysis are going to walk you through the process. Once those devices are in SolarWinds, SolarWinds is going to help you build out your dashboards, build out your alerts, and correlate that data together. And finally, integration. We want to talk to your other applications. We want to be able to send Teams messages, send messages to your ticketing system, pull information in from your CMDB systems, and really be able to talk to all of those systems. And one of the great things is with SolarWinds API systems, or APIs, we are actually able to talk to proprietary systems. It is very easy to create an API to be able to pull and push information directly into SolarWinds using the API system. So I want to talk a little bit about SolarWinds AI because this is an important subject, but it's also one that, obviously in DoD we've been a little bit slower to adopt. But this exists for us as well, of being able to really detect information using things like anomaly detection, where things don't look right, what looks different than it should, and being able to detect that. Being able to forecast, so far this is how much disk space you're using, and when am I going to run out of disk space? Or in your hosted environments like VMware, when am I going to run out of CPU or memory utilization? When are my hosts going to run out? Being able to forecast so you're able to predict where your issues are going to be in 3, 6 months, even a year down the line. That is key for the success of the mission. You do not want to be caught without resources because you didn't know. So being able to predict that is extremely important. Our log analytics, being able to bring in all of these logs, ingest these logs, and make security decisions. Being able to see, hey, I've got certain things happening on my network in different places. Am I under an attack? Do I need to make a change? Do I need to automatically shut down a system, remove a user from a group, change a user's permissions, or just disable the user altogether, reset systems, all of those things that you're able to do when you're able to detect that there's a problem happening through all of the logs. Logging is very complex because it's like drinking from a fire hose. You're taking in so much information. SolarWinds allows you to take in the information, analyze it, and allows the actual appliance to make the decision for you of what's best so that you guys can stay secure and stay on mission. And then dependency analysis, being able to see what's connected to what. With so much movement within DoD, people transferring and moving around, contracts changing, this is key. This is almost a self-documenting feature that we need to have, where we're able to say, these systems are talking together, and it will let the users and the engineers know that they're communicating together. And finally, we're able to have that piece of information so when something is affected, we know what other parts of the network are affected. Having worked in DoD for 10 years, I can't tell you how many times something goes down and they don't realize the residual effect through the network that it has because they didn't understand the dependencies between that system and the other pieces of the infrastructure. So it's a really key and important piece. And when you tie all those pieces together and you start using machine learning and analytics to really get to the heart of the issue, it's going to quickly help you resolve your issue. So one of the things we tell people is SolarWinds monitoring and observability is going to be key for your success. And the reason it's key for your success is it's going to give you information based on what you're seeing, but you're seeing the same data that your other teams are seeing. So for once, your network team and your server team are using the same database of data. And so you're going to be seeing different data, but it's all in the same database. And because SolarWinds is correlating that data for you, it's going to show you where your issue is. There's no more arguing over, is this a network problem? Is this a server problem? Is it a virtualization problem? And we've all been there where, I grew up as a network guy, and I used to say the server could be on fire and they will blame the network. And I always felt that way because it was always my fault. When I started using SolarWinds, I was able to prove that it wasn't my network, and that was very helpful. But at the same time, I was able to provide the server team with the visibility that they needed to be able to show where their issue was and what they needed to do to resolve it. And it was really important to be able to do that. Being able to do this your way finally. So the SolarWinds observability platform is going to give you a 250 lab license. You're going to be able to practice this in the lab, practice your upgrades, practice your configuration changes, all of those things. You're going to be able to add as many additional polling engines in multiple locations that you want to do. Adding additional web servers wherever you need them so people have access into SolarWinds. And finally, breaking down your license into as many instances as possible. There's no longer having a license for Nipper and a license for Sipper. It's all one license now. And lastly, high availability. Making sure that SolarWinds doesn't go down. If there's one thing that I learned, it's that SolarWinds are your eyes and ears to your infrastructure. And having that is an absolute important part of your environment. So we want to make sure that it stays up. So having high availability included in the platform will allow you to remain focused on your mission instead of focused on trying to keep things up and running on the SolarWinds side. So these are all the different pieces of monitoring and observability that we're really hitting nowadays. And most of these you recognize from the old days of a la carte modules and all of the different modules. But now we're really tying it all together. We're seeing that classic network and application piece that we've had forever and the infrastructure piece. But we've also moved into the synthetic transactions for the user experiences. The database piece, being able to see what's going on in the database, but also optimizing our queries to make sure that we're being able to pull the information in an optimized way. And then finally, tying those together with our AI and our machine learning of event correlation, anomaly detection, and root cause analysis. Being able to predict what's next. What is the next issue that we're going to see within our environments? And then finally, machine learning. This is going to happen locally. This is going to tie it all together locally. So if you don't have access to the cloud or you don't have access to AI, you can do so much of this by correlating data together and tying it together. Our goal here is to let the system, on-prem system, be able to learn and understand what's happening. We want to improve our operational efficiency, our system performance, and reduce the MTTR. But machine learning is going to tie that information together. We're going to be able to automate our workflows so that as things happen, it's going to happen automatically. If we can remove the human intervention, it's going to help us out. It doesn't mean the human's going away. It means there are certain workflows that we can trust the system to handle ourselves. So I appreciate you guys all being here. I do want to mention that we do have a SolarWinds Day coming up. If you're interested, you can grab the QR code. It's going to have a lot of great information as well. Happy to take your questions and answer any questions that you may have, but really appreciate everybody's time today and enjoy the rest of the show.